This meeting is being recorded.
For problem 12 in chapter 20, we're asked to provide names for these compounds shown, and we're given A all the way through I here, which we'll name systematically in this video. So all of these are carboxylic acid derivatives, so we'll always begin there, looking for a similarly structured carboxylic acid to begin our naming. So what we see here in compound A is a symmetric anhydride. So this is an anhydride. So that will be how we name it at the end, but we're going to start with the corresponding 3-carbon carboxylic acid, and that would be propionic acid or propanoic acid. So we could call this propane, 3 carbons, so propanoic anhydride would be the IUPAC name. And then again, we could replace that with propionic as the common nomenclature. Now in compound B, we see this is an amide, but we're going to name it as a corresponding carboxylic acid. So we see these 2 phenyl groups. We're going to name these as substituents on the nitrogen of this amide here. But the parent we would see would be, again, a 1, 2, 3 carbon propanoic or propionic acid. So when we name this final compound, we're going to have to give a locant of NN for both of those phenyl groups. So we would call this diphenyl. And then the parent would be, again, propane for 3 carbons. So we have propanamide for this compound. So altogether, we would have NN diphenyl propanamide. Then we can move to compound C here. The diester that we see here, so these are both ester functional groups. Again, we're going to start with the dicarboxylic acid now, in this case, called succinic acid. That would be a common name, so we'll write that here. Succinic acid would be the carboxylic acid that relates to this compound here. We're going to replace the ic with ate. So instead of succinic, we're going to get succinate. And from here, we can then name these 2 substituents. So we can have dimethyl. Succinate would be a common nomenclature for this. Or since we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, this would also be butane dioic acid. So we could also name this dimethyl. And then butane for the 4 carbons, di-O8 for 2 ester functional groups. All right, now we can move here to compound D. This amide will be named with cyclobutane carboxylic acid as the parent. So let's write cyclobutane. And then instead of carboxylic acid, we're going to name this carboxamide, since this is an amide functional group and not a carboxylic acid anymore. And then we just have to name the 2 substituents and their locations. So we've already named the parent. So now we have, again, the locants are both in N. And now we're going to alphabetize this. So we'll have ethyl, methyl, cyclobutane carboxamide, and that's all one word for the ending. The methyl, we actually don't need the hyphen there. So methyl cyclobutane carboxamide. All right, now we have compound E here. We see that this is a nitrile functional group with a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons. So this would be a butane parent, and butyric acid is the common name, or butane nitrile would be another name we could call this, from butanoic acid. So we have butane nitrile is the IUPAC name, or we could name it based on the common nomenclature, butyric acid. So we could have butyronitrile, NITRILE. Oops, let's go back. We started off poorly with that one from the beginning. So this would be, again, butyronitrile, BUTYRONITRILE. There we go. All right, so we have a couple more compounds. We'll name these a little bit quicker here. So this is an ester functional group. This will be named as our carboxylic acid derivative, butyric acid, or butanoic acid, because we have our longest carbon chain here, our 4. So we can call this a propyl, because this would be our substituent over here. So a propyl. And then again, we have 4 carbons, so a butanoate. All right, let's look at compound D here. This is going to be both an anhydride, and if you recall, succinic acid was a dicarboxylic acid where we had 4 carbons. So we have this anhydrous succinic acid, so we could call this, for a common name, we could call this succinic anhydride. Or since it's 4 carbons, we could call this a butane dioic, because there's 2 carboxylic acid functional groups, but then it's also an anhydride. So that would be butane dioic anhydride as the IUPAC name. Let's take a look at H here. We have 2 left. So here, this is going to be our parent. So this is a benz. It's a benzoic acid, so a benzoate when it's an ester. We just change the ic acid to ate, and then we name this substituent here as methyl, and we can actually pull that all together. We have methyl benzoate here. Last but not least, we now have an acetate ester functional group here, and we're going to name the substituent here as our phenyl group. So we're going to have PhenyL, so phenyl acetate is actually the common nomenclature, or we would have the IUPAC as phenyl, and then ethan for ethane, ethanoate.